Welcome to episode 6 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast for sharing tips, apps, and gear for iPhone and iPad, along with other technologies that you get using iOS in a fun, productive, and meaningful ways. I'm your host, David Ginsburg, and I'm here with my co-host, Melissa Davis. Hi, Melissa.
Hey, Dave. How's it going?
Doing great. I'm so glad we're up here to episode 6 of our fun podcast. And we got lots to talk about, all kinds of topics, news, and there's been a lot going on in the last couple of weeks. In
there
the Apple world.
It has not been a quiet week, that's for sure.
Yeah, very, very much so. So our first topic what we wanted to talk about was Apple has done a little change with their Apple stores. Did you notice that, Melissa?
I just looked at that. That looks cool. There's one actually. Well, why don't you go ahead and tell us what it is, and I'll tell you what Apple did was they came up with a new concept for all their training. So, most of us would go into the Apple store and you look at the schedule and see if there was a training class, and then you would sign up for it, and then you sit at the table, and of course, a lot of times it'd be too loud, and you wouldn't be able to focus. But it looks like they've really done a great job of expanding upon all of their different offerings for training. So if you go to apple.com/today, this actually brings you to the Today at Apple website. And it's got a flashy scrolling picture at the top that says discover aspiring programs that are happening near you. And, of course, it'll know where you are in your location. Or me being in Chicago, it's going to have all kinds of different things, and it shows the calendar for each day and what each store is offering. So the first one that just came up at one of the Apple stores is the Kids Hour, making movies together. That would be pretty cool, wouldn't you think, with your kids, if you would do that? Yeah. And, I've been wanting to do this for the longest time, and they had it. It was just such a very limited window of time, but it looks like they're going to have it. They're going to offer it maybe more frequently. So we might actually get to catch this. I think we're going to have to do it before when we get back, because I don't think we'll have time to do it before we leave.
Sure.
But yeah, I want to learn how to do this stuff too. So I might just have to go to the kids one all by myself.
I don't have kids to go with, but you have a good excuse to do it.
You can pretend.
Yeah, I don't know if they like that too much. All these kids, and I'm standing there at the store. I don't know about that, but check it out. I think they did a great job of really streamlining a lot of their classes. All the basic stuff too, like the Mac and Apple Watch and iPhone and iPad, and they also expanded upon it a little bit with different other projects. One that really stood out was the sketch walks. Now you can actually go on the actual walks, and they would do some sketching, different types of classes. One of them was like watercolor and brush techniques, and that seemed kind of cool. It was your Apple Pencil,
observational drawing?
Yeah, no, it's really cool. So I think Apple really has done a great job of changing the experience. Angela Ahrens, I actually watched an interview she did with LinkedIn, and she really gave some good insights about what's going on in Apple retail. She's not a techie person, and she leads the retail group. She came from Burberry, so she doesn't have a lot of tech, but she knows how to get people engaged and people to get interested in the product. So I threw you off of a curve here, but we probably should put that link in our show notes. People should check out that video, because I thought it was a really great.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too, actually.
It's a great article, great video, I should say. So I would definitely recommend checking that out. What else do we have in the news?
You want to talk about the link that you put in there about the free photography classes?
Yes. This was in Business Insider. They actually put together a free photography classes, and it was kind of what we kind of talked about. Photo walks, developing your style. I didn't see anything on that schedule for today's date, but if you go back to the Today in Apple website we just talked about, you can sign up for these classes, and they actually go through photo walks and let you step through and actually use your camera more. It's a more powerful use for the camera, because I didn't see anything, because I was looking through today's date, but I guess I could change to different dates, because obviously it's not going to be during the week. It's probably on weekends, I would bet.
Well, this article in Business Insider, someone who actually went through the program and did it and talked about his experience, and I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah,
so I think just checking out, we'll have that in the show notes, of course. Check out that article, what he learned, and I'm sure they're going to have more classes available. That's what kind of threw me off there, because the Apple site doesn't have anything scheduled at this time, but something, it's going to be coming. I'm sure there'll be more classes as they come along here. So,
and I mean, this would be a good opportunity to, take that kind of topic and run with it because I mean, I used to belong to, and maybe it's still going on, but I belong to a Google Hangouts group of people where we would actually have photo challenges every week. And whoever, it's just very kind of subjective. I mean, whoever won the photo challenge would get to pick the next topic. And so we would basically be given an assignment and then we'd go and it was smartphone photography. So it wasn't strictly iOS, but it was all the different smartphones that, you could take pictures with. And it was so much fun. I wish I had more time to do it. It's just been time. But we would get an assignment. And so you'd have to basically take 3 pictures, your 3 favorite pictures, and then share them with the group. And then everybody kind of vote on them. That you'd have like a week for everybody to review it.
Right.
And it was just so much fun. I love the idea of a photo walk like this. I mean, this kind of gets you out of the house. I mean, this would be really great for my seniors, get people out of the house, go on an actual photo walk with other like-minded people, other people that are learning the same thing. When I consult with my clients, this is one of the topics that I get asked about a lot is picture taking. I just had an instance where a couple, I have a lot of husband and wife clients, and they had the new 7 Plus like you have, and they didn't even know about portrait mode. And they were asking me questions about how to take pictures, and I noticed they asked me about live photos, and I explained what that was. And I noticed that they hadn't had any portrait pictures in there. So I actually showed them how to use portrait mode. And it was just so fun. I was like, come on, smile. And I had, the husband pose and the wife took a picture and, she just loved it. She just ate it up. So I could see a lot of people having a lot of fun with this. So you should do it and you should report back. That's your assignment.
That's your assignment, to take pictures. Speaking of pictures, Apple also has been really active on doing short commercials on different topics. One that stood out this past month it's on their YouTube page. We'll have a link there in our show notes about it. Is how to shoot on an iPhone 7. And there's about 20 or so videos, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, on different topics. Like the first topic that stood out was how to shoot with zoom on an iPhone 7 Plus. I think it goes about a 39-second video, but it gives you some great tips and showing you how powerful that camera really is. Same thing with the iPhone 7, how to convert to a black and white photo on an iPhone 7, and taking selfies, or how to edit a selfie on an iPhone 7, how to shoot great portraits. You just talked about portraits. There's a short little video on that as well. So Apple's really getting really into the education piece, and I think I'm super excited about that because makes it a lot easier to learn more about the products. But we always like to have you depend on us and listen to and learn some of the things that we talk about. But I'm super excited that Apple is doing that too.
Well, it gives us great reference points too, because when someone asks how to do something, we have the knowledge base. We know how to talk about it, but then now we'll have something that we can point back to and say, check out this video, and the work is kind of done for us. Because I'll tell you, a lot of times, I mean, making my own tutorials, I love doing it, but it's time consuming. It really is. Yeah,
I mean, hey, it's time consuming when we even working on our podcast. Just trying to put all this information together. Think about having all those resources, and then I subscribe to different types of services that offer that type of stuff. It may not necessarily mean I'm subscribing to it because I need to learn something, but I might learn something like 1 or 2 things I don't know, but I probably know most of the stuff. But that's what's great about having all this information out there is
like the hive mind.
It really is. I mean, no one can know everything. I never will ever admit that I do. So this is a great opportunity to be able to learn a lot of things from these particular videos. So. Did you have anything?
Since you were talking about this, since you were talking about the iPhone 7 Plus, I'm going to take that opportunity to segue into our next link here, which is this is a rumor. So people are talking about the iPad mini. I'll just use the word being cannibalized, which means it's kind of being eaten up. So the article is called Apple to discontinue iPad mini as device gets squeezed from both ends. And this is from BGR. Yep. So it is a rumor, but it's something definitely to think about, because as I mentioned in previous episodes and on other podcasts, I had been considering ever since they released the new iPad, which is the really affordable one. What is it, like $375 or something?
It's $349.
It's not as $349, so even better. It's not as souped up as the Pro. It doesn't have all of the stuff, and I don't think it's compatible with Apple Pencil. But for the needs that I have outlined in the past for what I would like it for, it really kind of fits that. But I was having a bit of a quandary in trying to decide whether or not I wanted to get the mini versus the new iPad. Now, we'll talk about it later, but I am going to wait till WWDC I always wait till then to make a final decision on that kind of stuff. But I was kind of debating on whether or not I wanted to get the iPad mini. But this rumor kind of stirs things around that maybe points to what I've been itching at, which I really just need to go with the plus size for the next phone. I really think I just need one of these days. I'm just going to bite it. I know you have it and you love it. And I really, really, really had a hard time deciding last time around when the 6S came out, because I'm on the S cycle. I always wait. So the next one that comes out, the next one that they announce, that's the one I'm going to be eyeing up. So my next decision is going to be whether or not I want to get the 7, or I guess it'll be the 8. I don't know what are they going to call it, but the plus size, because it has that better camera in it. And I've been really envious. Like, my clients have it, my sister-in-law has it, both my father-in-law, my dads have the 7 Plus. They all have this amazing camera, and we're talking about all these tips and all these videos and all these things that you can do with this amazing camera that I can't do with my regular. Even if I had gotten the 7, I still wouldn't be able to do those things like portrait mode and landscaping, telephoto zooming and that sort of. There's just those extra things that you just can't get in the regular sized phone. So that, that just a rumor, just even thinking about the mini being discontinued kind of pushes me more towards the plus sized end of the spectrum.
Well,
and then there's you that'll probably convince me.
Yeah, well, I you know me. I mean, the rumors are that there's going to be a 7S Plus, as well as an 8. So it's potential. There could be two different models, but they're saying that the 8's going to be over $1,000 at the base price. So
yeah, I know, and that's what's going to make it harder. But it's all going to be about that camera. I'm going to be looking forward to seeing what they do with the camera. I'm always excited about the camera.
And then the other thing is that there is also the rumor that they're going to be coming out with a 10.5-inch iPad, the iPad Pro. So that's probably the other two motivating factors. Is the iPhone 7 Plus is, that's very close to the size of a iPad Mini, and they want to go a 9.7 and a 10.5 and the 12.9. So I don't think.
And being an Apple. Being an Apple user all these years, none of this surprises me. People get all bent out of shape about it, like, oh, they're going to cannibalize their product. Like, they've been doing this for years. They do this. This is what they do. Yeah, I'm used to it.
Yeah, I mean, we all are, and I mean, it just continues. It just continues to change. So, we moving on here. I'm pretty excited, and you are too, about it. We received our first listener feedback. Yay!
So I've been friends with Nightwise for a long time. His name is Nightwise. He runs a website, nightwise.com, if you want to go check it out. He's a good friend. He's been a friend in this circle for a long, long time. He's really, really geeky like us. And so we're going to leave a spot here for the audio. But basically, he called in, or I should say he sent me an audio message in Messages. So he did it totally within the vein of our podcast subject. It's not like he called me on the phone. He left me an audio message in Messages, which I thought was really cool. So we're going to play it for you now. And basically, he talks about our last episode where we were talking about traveling and using data plans. And so he has a really great perspective and gives you lots of great tips about Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi, and what to do about the SIM card and this and that. So why don't you take a listen? I'll introduce it now. This is Nightwise of nightwise.com with an audio clip and some advice on traveling with your iOS device.
Let me do a retake here. Hey guys, this is Nightwise calling from Belgium, and I just want to congratulate you on a great show. I heard that you guys were talking about roaming charges when you come to the U.S., and I thought I'd enlighten you a little bit about how it's done here in Europe. When you're coming from the U.S. and you have a American contract, be very careful once you get off the boat, either in the U.K. or on the European mainland. Roaming charges will apply. If you consume data here in Europe, you will pay a pretty hefty amount of euro per megabyte when you have a non-European contract. So these roaming charges can be pretty hefty. Calling's not that expensive, but especially data is not cheap if you use your American cell contract here in Europe. What you can do is get a SIM card in the country that you are staying at for your data usage. Just go to a random phone shop and order a prepaid data SIM card which you can use for your heart's desire, and prices are dirt cheap. I am saying something like 10 euros for a gigabyte, or 10 euros for even 10 gigabytes, depending on which carrier you choose. Now, beware. The European Union, although it's working on its internal roaming charges, has not completely completed that new legislation. So we're not like the U.S. If you set foot on the mainland, for example, in Belgium, and you go to the Netherlands or to France with your Belgian SIM card and your Belgian data account, you will also pay roaming charges. So not all countries in the European Union are, just like the States and the U.S., where you have one carrier that works across the entire continent. Here you still have country-specific providers, and roaming charges apply cross-country. Legislation is being worked on, but it's not really complete yet, so be very careful when you do that. I would advise, when coming from the U.S. with your American SIM card, turn off the data and just use the calling features. As for alternatives, you can pretty much get Wi-Fi in all the major cities. There is even municipal Wi-Fi in many European cities, and where there is none, there will be free Wi-Fi in the pubs. There will be free Wi-Fi in your hotel and in the McDonald's, which is, these big things with the yellow arches, which are not actually an M. They are a W for free Wi-Fi, and that's the way you can find them. And I know you know this McDonald's thing because it's actually originating across the pond. So I hope you enjoy your visit to the European mainland, but take these advices ad hoc. When it comes to broadband speed, we kick your puny pink little butts every day. The average Belgian household has a 240 megabit connection to the internet without a shadow of a doubt. Pretty fast. That's a 20. Yeah, that's 240. That's 240 megabit connection to the curb. So because we are so well wired, we have awesome broadband speeds here, which you can enjoy. So next time you visit the mainland, think about it. Turn off your cellular data plan, buy a local SIM card, and if possible, use the local Wi-Fi, and you will be fine.
Okay, great. Thanks. We really appreciate that feedback from Nightwise. If you want to leave us feedback, do we have? Of course, he's your friend, so he actually texted to you, but
right. So he texted me personally, but I mean, there's always Twitter, there's Facebook. We have all of our links in our show notes.
Yes.
Within the podcast episode and on our website at www.intouchwithios.com. So go over there and check it out, and you can contact us through any one of those links. I don't know. We don't really have like a phone number or something that you can call, but you can always message one of us and leave an audio clip.
Through the social media means, I think is okay for now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's move on. We have a couple apps and tips that we wanted to talk about. I was pretty excited about this app. I know, Melissa, you said that you were still. You have the iOS version of this. This is PDF Expert from Riedel. They came out with a brand new version, and I'm pretty stoked of some of the features that they added to it. It's available through iTunes. The cost is $9.99, so it isn't free, but it's probably one of the most powerful PDF editors I've used on iOS, and I've been really happy with it. One of the couple of biggest things that it added was the ability to being able to edit a PDF very easily. And one thing I like a lot is if you have a document, maybe you don't want someone to see certain things on it, you actually can go kind of use with what's called Redact. And you tap that, and you can put black bars across, kind of like what the government does, when they're sending you some documents they don't want you to read things that we really should be able to read. But there are some instances, like I did it when I was doing a doc for some training that I did for Outlook 2016. There were some topics in a document that I didn't want to talk about, so I just blacked it out. So it really threw it out there so I could see that it was very easy to do that. The other great thing too is as long as the PDF is in an editable format, it's OCR'd and it's not a photo, you can also edit the text. So if you tap at the button that has text, you actually can tap in a box and actually go in and change the words, delete words, whatever, and it's full editing capabilities, just like you're having like a Word document or a Pages document. So it's pretty slick. Same thing with images. You can edit images. You can change them, rotate them. You can add links if there isn't a link in a particular file. So it's got some super powerful tools for iOS, which I think is just pretty amazing. There was a lot of other PDF editors out there, like PDF Pen Pro is another one I use. But I was kind of liking this new version. It's the version 6 for iOS, and it's really cool. Of course,
This has been my favorite.
Yeah, go ahead.
This has been my favorite out of all the. And I've tried a lot of them because I have some real world examples, just like you're talking about redacting and things like that. Just with my husband, just completed. Well, I mean, he's in the process of completing, but he just completed uploading all of his files. And I'm going to try this one of these days. I'm going to use a couple of the examples that I did on the Mac, where I used Preview, just the built-in Mac PDF editing app called Preview, and I consolidated apps. Took 3 pages from this PDF, dragged them over. Consolidated them onto this one, because when he uploaded his stuff, they have very, very specific rules and guidelines about what you're allowed to upload. The file size has to be under a certain limit. It has to be a certain page limit. And then each one of the documents that he uploaded had to have a very specific cover page, which was the PDF. So we had to take those and combine them. And then there's another rule about, student names couldn't be published and locations couldn't be published, because this is a national program. So we did have to go in and redact a lot of things. We had to draw lines through a lot of stuff. And so I'd love to throw that task at this. And what I have done in the past, I know that it's capable because my children go to a charter school where they use an online curriculum for their math. And you can actually go to the website, download the homework file. So this actually came in handy for us. We were traveling one time where we had to take them out of school for like a wedding. And then there was another time where my son was absent, and we were actually able to download the PDFs. And these were math worksheets. So you had to do a lot of handwriting. And it was funny. It's a fun way to get your kids to do their homework if you tell them that you'll let them do it on the iPad, because you can use PDF Expert to open the PDF and then use the pen tools to draw and do your math problems, show your work and all that kind of stuff. And so he begs me now. He's like, "Can I do my homework on the iPad?" So I actually did put this to the test for those kinds of things. And so I'm pretty sure that it will be able to do what I throw at it as far as consolidating pages from. I just haven't done it yet, but I'm anxious to play around with that, where you can reorder the page order and take pages from one file and add them to a different file, and then take that file and rename it and that sort of thing. So yeah, I love playing around in these, and I've tinkered with many, many different. There's always somebody always has one, right? But I actually like the Readle. I forget, what did you say? It's Readle or Readle? Readle apps, because I actually use Calendars 5 from them. That is my absolute favorite calendaring app. So I'm a very, very picky person when it comes to calendar apps and PDF editing apps, and Readle has the sweet spot on my phone for both of those subjects. So that should speak volumes. That should tell you a lot coming from me.
Yeah, I mean, Calendars 5 is awesome. They also have another product called Scanner Pro, one of the best scanners out there for scanning documents. So they're really...
I would have to compare with JotNot Pro. That's my favorite scanner app Pro. So maybe that'll be my assignment for next time. I'll have to put those two head to head and compare them, because I sort of have my apps that I love, that I fall in love with, and okay, well, let's see. Can you do this? Can you do this? So yeah, that'll be fun.
In fact, I'm on Readle's website right now, and actually PDF Expert was Apple's app of the year. So that tells you right away that a lot of good positive feedback about that app. So it's PDF Expert from Readle. You can go. We'll have a link in the show notes on right to the iTunes link for iOS. There is a Mac version too, but we don't talk too much about Mac here. But you can take a look at that as well. But highly recommend it. And definitely,
you can also link all of your different cloud services with it. So you can read PDFs from iCloud, from Dropbox, from Google Drive, pretty much anything that you throw at it. PDF Expert can read from those different buckets. So that's really, really important.
Google Drive, Dropbox, Box, as well as iCloud.
I just remembered the first form that I I filled out with this was for my dentist last year. And I have a very nice, progressive modern dentist, and they have their new patient registration forms available on their website. And I downloaded it, opened it in PDF Expert, and I filled out the form. And man, were they impressed with me when I went in. I printed it out, and they're like, what did you use to do this? And so I had to show them on my phone, and they're pretty techy there. So I was impressed. So yeah, fill out your new patient forms and PDF Expert, and yeah. So contact us, let us know what you think about it. We'd love to know what you hear about these apps that we talk about, and see what, maybe you have an alternative or something that does it better. But I think PDF Expert is pretty top dog.
Nope. Absolutely. So moving on, we also wanted to talk about Safari. Safari is an app. We can say it is, and this will be more of a tip that we found from our friend Dave Chartier from Finer Things in Tech. He has a wonderful newsletter that he sends out, and the one tip that he told us about was iOS 10 Safari being able to close all the tabs at once. It's always been a challenge I never thought about it, and thinking there's got to be a way to close all these tabs, because sometimes you have 16, 20 different tabs opened up. So really all you have to do is you go into Safari, and you tap and hold down the button where you look at the tabs, but you tap and hold it. And once you hold it, another menu. What's that?
It's a long press.
It's a long press. Yes, you don't just tap and hold it for. You have to tap it and hold it for a fair amount of time. But once you do it, it'll bring up a little box and shows you that closed all these tabs, or closed 16 tabs. You tap it, and then all the tabs close pretty quickly. So I thought it was it's a pretty cool thing, because there's lots of times I have a lot of apps opened up, and we tend to want to be able to close them quickly. So I thought that was a great tip.
This is one I definitely get a lot of mileage out of from my clients, because unfortunately they just, they know how to browse the web, but they don't understand that every time you tap on a link, it opens it up into a new tab, a new window, basically. And so a lot of them, like they'll be like, they actually reach the limit. There is a limit. I don't know what it is. I don't remember what the tab limit is, but there is a limit where I think it'll kind of yell at you. iOS will tell you, like, you can't, no more soup for you. You can't open up any more tabs, and or they'll just get confused, and they'll tap on it's the two little squares in the lower right hand corner. When you're looking at Safari on iOS, there's two little squares that overlap each other, and that's where you're going to tap and hold and then release when the little window pops up that says new tab in blue, and then it says close 3 tabs. So I just have this example open on my screen in red, and then that's what you tap, the one that's in red, and then that's what will close them all. But my clients run into the situation where they just can't open up any more tabs, or they're so lost, like they can't, they just lose their place. And so this is definitely going to be a really handy thing that I could do, because otherwise I tried teaching them how to close the tabs by tapping on the tiny little X in the upper corner, and it's just such a tiny target that it's really hard for them to tap. So this is a godsend. This is like, this makes it so much easier. So definitely going to be using this tip more and more.
Absolutely.
Thanks, David.
You're welcome. Hey, welcome for me and welcome for him. I fell for that, didn't I?
I know.
So the other tip we had, we want to talk about was the calculator tip. We thought this was a really cool tip. But you want to go through that?
Sure. So let's say you open up your calculator and you're typing in, I'm just going to, for the sake of easiness, you type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but you maybe typed like one too many digits. You can actually swipe from the right or the left, and it will delete the last, either the digit off the left side or the digit off the right side, depending on where you. Actually, I think as I'm doing it, I'm swiping it. It's always on the right side. So let's say you type too many digits. You wanted to type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instead of 6. You just swipe it, and it'll take off that digit for you. So instead of having to clear it and start it all over again, you just swipe, and it'll just take off the last digit for you. That's in the calculator app. So that's handy.
Yeah, it was very handy. So that was a couple of the tips we had. Also, we have some other news we wanted to talk about. Apple is looking to change iCloud security, if anybody was aware of that, the security requirements. And there was an article written in Macworld that talked about how they're going to be changing the actual requirements. And we highly recommend going through and checking this article out. We're going to kind of summarize it a little bit and just kind of tell you what's out there. I know you have. Why don't you go give your opinion about the two-factor authentication to making it
I've
difficult.
I've ranted about this before in the past because it can get really confusing. All of this extra security that we have to put on it, it really upsets a lot of people. But I think it's very handy to have. I think it's important. I really do try to encourage people to use it because I think this is just how the world works. We just have to be vigilant and we have to be diligent and we have to know what these things mean. So two-factor authentication is something that you have and something that you know. Or it's probably the other way around. Something that you know, which is your password. That's your first line. And then something that you have, which would be another device. Like if you're working on an iPhone and you go to a website, like say iCloud or someplace that wants you to log in, there's something that you have would be another device, like say your iPad or your Apple Watch or your Mac for that matter. And it's going to text you a verification code. And what is it, like 6 digits, I think it is? Or maybe it's 9?
Yeah, I think it's 9.
Is it 9? And so you're going to end up having to put that verification code, those digits into that box. And only you would know that if you have one of those devices. So it's very secure. It's just that it confuses a lot of people, especially my kind of clients. They think that that's their new password. So they'll write it down. And then they think that that's what they have to use. And then they get confused when they try to enter that verification code and it doesn't work because it's just a one-trick pony. It's only a one-time code. So I always tell them, don't write it down. Write it down if you need to, because it's going to maybe disappear from your screen if your screen falls asleep or something. Write it down then, but then don't keep it. Throw that away or scratch it out or something. So it's just another way to keep you safe. Now, I call it old school. I have what's called two-step verification. So I have an iCloud account that I've had for a long, long time, and this was back, I don't know how long this goes, maybe a couple of years ago when they first started hand-holding and telling us Apple users that, you really should have this extra bit of security. And so this was two-step where, yes, the first step is your password, but then if you needed to change your password or anything that required some kind of a red flag or some kind of a security issue, you needed to have a key. And so when you turned this on, and it was it took a while for it to roll out, and only certain accounts were eligible, and then you had to wait for them to get back to you. But they would give you this master key, like this golden ticket, and you had to, write it down and capture it someplace, because if you lose that key, then you lose the ability to make any kind of changes to your account. So it's a recovery key is what it is. So I still have that set up. I still didn't switch to two-factor authentication. I still feel very safe, but I've watched it come through. Dave, what was the last update where it kind of not made you do it, but it strongly recommended that you do it?
Yeah, and would keep hacking. It was 10.3. 10.3.
So because I updated my husband's phone and that message came up, because I was getting calls from clients like, what is this? And they would describe it. They didn't know what it was called. They didn't know to call it two-factor authentication. It's also, if you see it in text, it's abbreviated as 2FA. So that's two Foxtrot. 2 Foxtrot Alpha.
Or two-factor
so if you
authentication.
if you see that, that's what that means, two-factor authentication. But they don't know what that means. They just know that I got this code, this mysterious code, and I think I changed my password. So it really confused a lot of people. And so when I went to upgrade my husband's phone, I'm like, oh, that's what they're getting, because they did the update, and it didn't used to do that. It didn't used to kind of make you do things or strongly recommend. But now Apple's getting to the point where they really want to be able to protect their bottom line.
Right.
So they're strongly recommending that you do this. And it's one of those things where if you just tap okay, then you're set up with two-factor. Unless you read the things, I think you have to tap other options or, something. There's another button that you can tap to get out of it. But unless you actually read what those prompts say, then you're already automatically conscripted into it. And so it was really upsetting a lot of people because they didn't understand what they were signing up for. Despite the fact that Apple does a pretty good job of telling you what it is, we have become a very complacent society when it comes to security, unfortunately. And people just read the stuff and tap okay because they just want to it's like swatting a fly. There's something on my screen. I'm just going to tap okay to get rid of it. But you really got to read those messages, and you really got to pay attention to what they say because it's really telling you what's going to happen. And if you have questions about it, that's a time to take a screenshot, and we'll go over how to do that. I think I almost feel like we should do it every single episode.
Yeah.
Here's how you take a screenshot.
Power button.
You want to press the home button. So I just think, it's really important to read that stuff and make sure that if you don't understand what it is, ask a question about it, but definitely read what it says and learn about two-factor authentication, and make sure that you get it turned on and start using it, because it's really going to protect you in the future.
Yep, I was resistant to it for a long time, but then when 10.3 came out, I finally gave in, and I'm using it. Now, one of the things that Apple's going to change as far as Apple's iCloud security requirements, what's going to affect is, like we talked about, this is going to start on June 15th of next month, when we recorded this. What Apple's going to do is they're going to impose some new security requirement that it's going to require unique passwords for all third-party software that's out there that uses iCloud accounts. So stuff like Fantastical, Thunderbird, or Busy Contacts, just to name a few, will have to change the way they allow that they have to have unique passwords. Now, we won't go down the rat hole here about some of the other discussions that were in this article. You can read that on your own if you'd like, but there was another method that a lot of these third-party app developers prefer. It was called OAuth.
You're talking about OAuth?
Yeah. That they think, and I kind of agree with them, that there is some validity to that they have a much better security with that, but Apple isn't looking at that. But I think what Apple's providing is sufficient,
for the common user.
For the common user, yeah. And I'm thinking that, like Melissa said, you definitely should take a look and consider doing two-factor authentication for your system.
Yeah, it's an extra hoop to jump through, but I think it's worth it. It's really kind of a pay now or pay later kind of a thing. So what? You got to enter another thing every time, but it's not that often. And as long as you understand what it is, it will help teach you to recognize when something doesn't seem right.
Yeah. So that's our bandwagon about security. This isn't a security podcast, but we want to just kind of make you aware of those kind of things. So next topic we want to talk about is, I'm excited, is the Worldwide Developers Conference for 2017 is coming up very shortly here, and on June 5th is the keynote. And always that's the time of year where they announce all kinds of new things, and there are a lot of rumors out there. Probably I would almost guarantee we'll have a new OS for iOS. iOS 11 is what they're talking about. There's going to be a lot of changes there. Again, a lot of it's all rumors. There's going to probably be a new iPhone 8. There also was some discussion about the iPad 10. The iPad Pro will be a 10.5-inch screen. As we talked about earlier, the Mini is going to be going away, probably. Again, that's a rumor. But
or speculation.
A rumor or speculation, I guess one of those two. But you've never been to WWDC, Melissa, have you?
I've never been to one in person. Have you ever been to one?
No, I have not. I mean, it's
always
very
watched.
expensive.
It's
$2,000+ plus.
It's a little bit above my pay grade. But I do enjoy watching. What I think is really interesting, though, is that there's more and more people like my dad, or maybe my brother, or even like my kids and I, we like to watch the keynotes together now. We like seeing what's coming down the pipe. It's just interesting. For me as kind of like a geek or a nerd, it's like a sporting event. Like, you're a real sports fan. I'm not much of a sports fan, but I can only imagine this is what it feels like to be a sports fan, because I get really okay. So then yeah, you can confirm that for me. Then it does. I almost wish I had like a little scarf or some kind of big finger to wag or something. But I do get excited about WWDC. So it is. It used to be that it seemed like it was just for geeks. It was just for the really techie of the techiest people. But I would argue that more common people, like more, people that aren't like necessarily completely steeped in it, are going to watch it, and they can get enough from it. I think that Apple's been really good about putting on a pretty big, I don't know, I call it a dog and pony show. I think that they come up with a lot of neat stuff to keep people engaged.
The great thing now is that it's live streamed. So us really crazy people, like I've done in the past, and more than likely we'll do it again on For Mac Guys Only with Mike Potter, we'll be doing a reaction episode where we sit and kind of have fun and watch as the things get announced.
When I did it with you guys the last time, I thought, is this what it's like at a golf game? Like giving like the drive-by drive,
hey, it's challenging.
It's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's challenging because you got there's delays but the great thing about what Apple's done is they're live streaming it. It used to be like pulling teeth to get that done. People would be watching Twitter instead of actually watching the live stream and have to watch the words come up.
Yeah, the live blogs.
Remember those live blogs? Yeah, they still do them.
Refresh. But
the great thing is they have an app on the Apple TV, so you can watch it on there, and then you have to use Safari. They're at least that strict when you are watching this, that you can't use a different browser.
I get excited about looking at the app screen on my Apple TV to wait for the new little artwork to come up.
But yeah, they haven't had an event since October of last year, so it's been quite a while since the last live event. So this will be exciting. Then it's a full week sessions, and a lot of developers will be talking about all kinds of new things, new apps, and all kinds of stuff. And like I said, I'm sure iOS 11 is going to get announced. I would not be at all surprised as Mac OS 10.13 gets announced, because that's the big meat and potatoes of the Worldwide Developers Conference, is developing, and doing it on all the operating systems. But all the rumors of all the other hardware devices, including potentially Macs, are going to get announced too. So I would check it out. Yeah, it's coming up in a couple weeks, and like I said, I consider that day a holiday on the 5th of June. So I'll be taking my traditional day off from work and get to enjoy watching it without having to worry about other things going on at work at that day.
If you haven't watched one, I suggest you check your Apple TV and see if there's a new piece of artwork that shows up there, and go check it out. And it'll walk you through it. Like if you click on it, it'll tell you. It'll give you a countdown and how many hours or how many days are left. So definitely check it out. Don't be afraid of it.
Yeah. So, Melissa, did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about before we were going to? I haven't even mentioned it the whole time. This time in this episode is about Macstock.
I know.
Can you believe that? We hadn't mentioned it once until this moment.
Well, I thought about it, but I found another way around it. I was trying to save it for the end. Okay,
well, go for it. Tell us about Macstock.
Well, as you were talking about WWDC, I was going to say we're going to be on the road. So, we're talking about maybe doing like a live blow by blow of it. And I don't know where I'm going to be, because we're going on a road trip out to visit my folks out in Pennsylvania. So we're going cross country, all the way from one end of the country to the other, and then back again. And on the way back this time, we are going to be stopping in for Macstock. So if you haven't heard us talk about it enough on just every single podcast and every single episode, David and I are going to be presenting two different presentations. I'm going to be presenting with my buddy Jody Spangler. We did a presentation last year that we called Senior Moments, and we're going to be sort of piggybacking off of that again this year. And we're going to be talking about remote support. It's for everybody really, but in particular for us, remote support with seniors. And so we're starting to craft our presentation, and I'm going to start working on my slides and start getting a lot of that stuff together. I'm excited. We have lots of ideas about what we're going to talk about, but we only have 20 minutes on the stage.
Yes,
and then we'll have a deeper dive. We'll have a deeper dive too, so we have to figure out what we're going to say for that.
That's right.
So
you have a deeper dive.
Excited.
And so do I this year. I didn't.
Yeah, we both have deeper dives, so you'll have to come and check.
I'm kind of bummed.
I know. We got to wait for the videos.
Plus, you're going to be busy because you're going to be rehearsing before Mike, because you'll go on after me. So
again, we got to talk to Mike about that.
But the event is coming up, and I'm on the website now. It's macstock2017.com. It's 51 days away. I can't believe it.
Oh my gosh!
It's not too far away. It's July 15th and 16th. This year, it's in Woodstock, Illinois, at the McHenry County Community College. The speakers are they're just amazing amount of speakers that are there. Besides Melissa and I, we have Chuck Joyner, you have Allison Sheridan, Tim Robertson, Guy Searle, a lot of the folks in the community. I can name everybody here. Dave Hamilton's going to be there. Allison Sheridan. Brett Terpstra is there as well. Matt Schmitz, who's an up-and-coming speaker, talking about
Brett's new this year.
Yeah,
he visited last year, and then I think he got sucked in.
He spoke last year. I believe he did speak at the second.
Did he speak? I thought he just
visited
came to
the first year, and then he spoke the second year.
Oh,
so now this will be his.
Maybe I missed it when I was rehearsing.
So there's just a great talent of speakers, including myself and Melissa, of course, and. And as she said, there's going to be some deeper dives. My topic is going to be on efficiencies in iOS. I won't spoil too much of it, but there's going to be there's a lot of great efficiencies out there that you could be doing. And one of the tips was the browser. I'll probably mention that again because people always forget about the closing the tabs in the browser. We highly recommend that you come out and check it out. It's actually going to be a great event. Chuck Joyner, actually, I would mention this a little briefly. He just didn't, he's been doing episodes on Mac Voices for the Road to Mac stock, and he.
Now I got to get on there.
I guess you guys haven't been on there yet, have you?
Not yet.
Okay,
We've just been having scheduling issues.
He keeps sending you, I'm sure, requests. But he had his last episode was with Brian Henson, who's the one of the volunteers for the Mac stock, and I would hope. Yeah,
Brian was so great last year.
Yeah, he's a great, super nice guy.
Can't wait to see him again.
Yeah, he's just so nice, and he's so supportive of all the speakers. And check out Chuck Joyner's the last episode that just was published on.
I have to go watch that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun,
and he was such great care of us.
Yeah, and they had a nice conversation. And he gave a lot of kudos and gave some. Great information about Mac stock, so check it out. We have a coupon code for Mac stock.
Yeah, you got to go get your tickets because it's not that far away.
It's not that far away. It's we have a $30 off coupon for your ticket if you use the coupon code In Touch with iOS, all one word, and you will be able to get $30 off for the 2 sessions. Of course, we can't not talk about the Barry Folks mingle.
Yes,
he'll be doing that as well. So we have a little bit of party between the nights, and we'll have a lot of fun doing that. So don't.
Yeah, in fact, go back to For Mac Guys Only and listen to the episode that I just did with Barry.
Yes,
it was just recently published not long ago. So go check.
We just talked about that, check that out. And we really want you to come out and see us and see all the great speakers are going to be there. So I think. I can't say enough about Mac stock, and we hope to see you out there coming up very soon, 51 days. All right, Melissa, do we have anything else to talk about? I don't think so. I think this is going to be a shorter than normal episode, but that's okay. We don't have to.
And you thought we'd have too much.
I did think I thought we'd have too much. We're a
little extra caffeinated this time around.
Yeah, we had a lot of prep, so.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. So what I will say is I will give you our contact info. If you want to contact us, you can go to our website, which is intouchwithios.com. You can also make comments on our Facebook page. You can tweet Melissa. She is at the Mac Mommy, and I am at Dave G65. So with that, I thank you for listening, and I hope that you are more in touch with iOS. And after hearing this episode, subscribe to our podcast in one of your favorite podcatchers, as well as in iTunes, and show your friends how to look for us in iTunes. We look forward to bringing you more useful information in future episodes. And I am David Ginsburg.
And I'm Melissa Davis.
Thanks for listening.